Hello friends and welcome to gusmcdollgames. My name is Nick McDoll and today we're continuing the NATO campaign in Naval War Arctic Circle with the second tutorial mission in which we will cover the basics of anti-submarine warfare in Naval War Arctic Circle. Naval War Arctic Circle is based on a hypothetical Great Arctic War set in 2030 and largely fought in the North Atlantic, Arctic, Baltic and the North Sea. Each mission starts with a news article to give us some context. The Daily Global Courant, Friday 21st June 2030. NATO exercise receives criticism from commercial shipping. Unresolved status of recently navigable Northwest Passage still an issue. As it happens in real life, the Northwest Passage is increasingly able to be safely navigated by commercial shipping, so this scenario is quite realistic. Please pause the video if you'd like to read the full article, and while you're doing so, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more great content. Okay, the dialogue. Okay, Tutorial 2, Anti-Submarine Warfare. In this exercise, you will use land and sea-based aircraft to search for and engage enemy submarines. Locate and sink at least one enemy submarine. Okay, and the hint is open the flight deck on one of your frigates and launch a helicopter, select the helicopter, queue it, and then right-click on the map where you want it to navigate. And the objective is on the top right of the screen, launch a helicopter from your frigate. But first we're going to have a look, quick zoom out to see there's no other units, and then into Andøya Airport. Okay, this is Andøya Airport in northern Norway. And the sun, as always, is to the north. So we'll open the flight deck, and we have here a Boeing P-8A Poseidon multi-mission maritime aircraft in an anti-submarine warfare profile. It's ready to launch, and we have two of them, and we also have two F-35A Lightning IIs in an air superiority mission profile. So two of them, and we'll take one of them and put it to medium height and right-click on the map and drag and draw a rectangle around Andøya Airport where we want it to go. So we'll click and drag and drop, and this will launch the F-35. There we go. Launching on a combat air patrol, and you can see it launching there. And here is the F-35 rising out of Andøya Airport. You can see beneath it the terrain which is modelled in the game. It's quite detailed islands there. So Andøya Airport doesn't only host the F-35s, it also, as we can see, has the Boeing P-8 Poseidon. So we'll take one of them, put it into a low elevation, and I want to launch this on an anti-submarine warfare patrol somewhere to the southwest of the frigates that are indicated here. So again, we'll right-click, drag and drop a rectangle, and that sets a movement box for the Poseidon. You can see on the top right above the flight panel it's queued to launch, and there you can see it launching right now. So we'll track the Poseidon as it launches from Andøya Airport. And narrowly avoiding terrain, I think. Yep, there we go. And you can see that terrain is modelled quite well in Naval War Arctic Circle. It's got good terrain elevations. However, the game is a little let down, I think, by the quality of the graphics skins, and you can see obviously the green and brown skins here don't always give you the greatest sense of the terrain, and also the P-8 Poseidon, for example, doesn't have any national livery indicating its national service. So they could have made some improvements, I think, to the skins of the models and also to the game. But you see this beautiful view here of the Norwegian cliffs and the fjords behind the Poseidon. Shows the real potential this game has. Okay, so we'll move now to the KNM Helga Ingstad, the Fridtjof Nansen class frigate. And what we're going to do is to launch a helicopter from this frigate and conduct anti-submarine warfare operations. First, what we might do though is have a look at the sensors. It's got an AN-SPY-1F radar with a 216 nautical mile range. So we'll go ahead and activate that. It also has a Spherion MRS 2000 sonar with a 4 nautical mile range for submarines, so obviously we'll activate that because we're on an anti-submarine warfare patrol. And a Captas Mark II V1 towed array sonar with a 12 nautical mile range. And again, we will definitely want to activate that sensor and also deploy it, because that's our main means of detecting the submarine from the vessel. Now next we open the flight panel and we'll take the NH Industries NH90 in an anti-submarine warfare flight profile. It has 3 Stingrays, 14 DCAS sonobuoys, as well as flares and chaff. So we'll put that in the queue and launch that again by right-clicking on the map and drawing a rectangle. So the hint says, with the helicopter selected, go to the Special Orders panel. You'll find the aircraft is equipped with sonobuoys. With this selected, press and hold the right mouse button, drawing out a rectangle where you want to conduct the submarine search, in this case in a narrow area around the marker on the map. You can also drop individual sonobuoys at a specific position by right-clicking that map position. So there's no marker on the map, so we'll have to just infer that, and you can see the helicopter taking off now from the Fridtjof Nansen class frigate. This is the NH90, the naval helicopter. There is also an MRH90 or multi-role helicopter variant, and there are a number of differences between them. The naval helicopter has been optimized for maritime conditions and it has to cope with things like, for example, so what we'll do is we'll activate the sensors, Thales MRR sensor, a dipping sonar, which we will use later but not quite yet, and the ESM system, the AN-ALQ 142 ESM system, is already active with a range of 216 nautical miles to detect air targets. But as I was saying, optimizing the helicopter for naval conditions includes, for example, the risks of salt rust. Okay, so we've got 14 DCAS sonobuoys, and the hint was to right-click and drag a rectangle where we want the helicopter to deploy those sonobuoys, and the helicopter we now see is moving to that location. So we'll now go and have another look at how the Poseidon is tracking. The Poseidon has 11 Mark 54 torpedoes, so you can see from that it's very capable of not only detecting subsurface contacts, but of also prosecuting those contacts. And with 11 torpedoes, you can afford a few misses. The hint is, if you haven't already done so, consider increasing time compression in the game. So okay, we'll do that. Increase to 10 times time compression, and this is the KNM Otto Sverdrup, another Fridtjof Nansen class frigate, and activate the sensors on this frigate as well. We'll do that pretty quickly because we've got time compressed. Okay, there we go. And back to the Helga Ingstad. I'm happy with the sensors are all going well. We'll speed up time a little bit more. 1:30 gives us a minute every 2 seconds in real time. So, okay, there's our Poseidon. We'll slow it down a bit. And okay, back to the frigate. Nothing's tracking with the frigate. So it's also equipped with 16 Stingray torpedoes, so it's also got its own anti-submarine capability. So back to the Poseidon, let me just check. I'm pretty happy with that movement box. We don't really know where the submarine might be, but we've got 200 sonobuoys with a range of 6 nautical miles. And again, to deploy these, you right-click on the map, click and drag a rectangle where you wanted to deploy it. The aircraft, or the crew of the aircraft, automatically determine the location to drop each of the sonobuoys, and that's in a pattern. Obviously, as you can, I'll speed up time here. You can also right-click on the map to deploy an individual sonobuoy. So one is near miss between the helicopter and the Poseidon. Bit of vertical separation would have been good. And you can see the helicopter, and you can also see the Poseidon dropping their individual sonobuoys in generally randomized pattern, but generally circular. And you can see the flight path plan here for the helicopter is a not quite circular, but roughly circular distribution of sonobuoys in the area. So the helicopter has 14 sonobuoys compared to the Poseidon's 200. We'll speed up time a little bit, and this is what the sonobuoys look like in the game. It's sitting 50 meters below the surface of the ocean, and just sitting there listening out for what it can hear. And you can see on the mini-map the dispersion pattern of the sonobuoys as they're being dropped. Okay, so this is the dispersion pattern, and you can see the P8 Poseidon now, it's expended almost half, or only, sorry, maybe a few of its sonobuoys there in a pattern. You can see that circular flight path, and that's automatically determined by the aircraft when you drag and drop your rectangle. That's the pattern, so that's what 200 sonobuoys will look like eventually, but I want to move it slightly to the south because I'm getting good coverage here, but still haven't detected anything. And I don't really know where the submarine is in this scenario. We've only got a vague idea it's to the southwest of the frigates. So there we go. Having given it a new flight path, this is what its new dropping locations look like. And here's the helicopter. Yep, and it's almost deployed all of its decas. So what we'll do is to move it to the south to deploy its very final. So we'll do a single sonobuoy drop, and what we'll do is right-click on the map to indicate a location. There we go, to deploy a sonobuoys in an area. So this is a single deployment of a sonobuoy from the helicopter as opposed to the pattern. So if you want a pattern, right-click on the map and draw the rectangle. If you want to specify the placement of every individual sonobuoy, just simply right-click on the map. And there we go, it's deployed its final decas. Can't deploy any more sonobuoys out of ammunition, but that's fine. So we'll move it to the north-northeast, back towards the frigate. Obviously the helicopter also has its own sonar. So back to the Otto Sverdrup, also has an anti-submarine warfare helicopter. Let's slow down time and launch that helicopter. And we'll launch it here in a movement box, slightly to the southwest of the frigate. Going back up to Andoya Airport, you'll see the F-35 has run out of fuel and returned to base. If we look at how long it takes, time until ready is just under 25 minutes until it's refueled. So we'll put the other F-35 up in a combat air patrol. We'll put it at high altitude and create a big movement box around Andoya Airport. And you can see there it launches and gets very high very quickly. And in the background, you can see the terrain in the islands that are modelled in the game. And this, I feel that it gives this game an element of depth, having that 3D aspect to it. A number of similar titles that do naval warfare and tactics, such as Harpoon or Command Modern Naval Air Operations, generally have the gameplay only in 2D. But one of the advantages of Naval War Arctic Circle, similar to titles like Jane's Fleet Command, is it does give you that 3D world that you can enjoy as well. It just adds another element of depth to the game. Okay, we'll just change its movement box. Speed up time, 1 minute per second now. It's 1:60 speed, so we're really... and you can see how this is a game of patience in anti-submarine warfare. A lot of time is going by. If we had other things happening in the battle space, this would be happening very slowly. Okay, so we've got one detection of an enemy submarine. To engage the enemy submarine, you first have to mark it as hostile, foe, marked as red on the map. If the sub is not identified, you can do that manually in the information panel when you have the detection contact selected. Then choose your helicopter again and right-click on the submarine target to engage. You may have to repeat this process, as submarines may evade some of your torpedoes. There are additional aircraft, P8 Poseidons, on your airbase to the north, which we know because we've launched one of them and have one in reserve. So our new objective is to destroy at least one enemy submarine. Okay, I'm now moving the submarine a little closer to where I suspect that detection is. and deploy the dipping sonar AQS-18A. And this is because I want to get a little bit more information. As you can see from the contact, this is the Astute, which is actually a Royal Navy submarine. It has been detected by a decast sonobuoy from the Poseidon and not from the helicopter itself. So I want to firm up my target information using the helicopter. Okay, just checking the sonar. Yep, it's deployed, but we can't deploy deep because it hasn't finished deploying there. But I want to firm up the target data before launching, and that'll show in the bottom right-hand screen where it says detection reports. So this is the Astute, and you can see the detection reports still showing just that one single detection by the sonobuoy at 8:27. So it was a couple of minutes ago since our last detection, and it was creeping along at 5 kilometers an hour and 100 meters under the surface. So going back to our helicopter, just checking everything's okay, and the movement panel, yep, we've stopped it. That's low down, it's lowering itself down. We'll give it a slow movement order to move it a little bit closer to where we think that submarine might be. Now in the game, you can have your dipping sonar deployed and move, so it doesn't necessarily model retrieving a dipping sonar and then moving, so you kind of have to do that manually. Okay, but we are going to deploy it deep, why not? And you can see the helicopter's right down low on the surface, and we just want to see if we can, we'll speed up time a bit to see if we can improve our target information. Now, if this was a tactical scenario where the submarine was close to surface vessels, I would probably just launch a torpedo, because that would force the submarine to react to that action and could spoil an attack they had prepared. So now we see the HMS Astute has been detected by the helicopter using its dipping sonar, which you can see on the bottom right screen detection reports. So it's time to launch a Stingray torpedo and bring the mission to a close. Okay, there's the Astute. We're launching, engaging the target, and we've launched 2 torpedoes at it. So that ought to cause it at this range a lot of issues. And there's the Stingray lightweight torpedo, tracking 83 kilometers per hour, so somewhere short of 40 knots at 100 meters below the surface, and the Astute is hit. So in the second tutorial on the basics of anti-submarine warfare in Naval War Arctic Circle, we've covered launching aircraft from an airport, launching a helicopter from a ship, giving them movement orders including patrol boxes, activating their sensors, deploying sonobuoys, and attacking a subsurface target with torpedoes. This brings our second tutorial mission to a close. In the next mission, we'll cover the basics of air operations in Naval War Arctic Circle. As always, thanks for watching. For more Naval War Arctic Circle content, check out the Jersey Blockade and NATO campaign playlists on our channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.